Hello guys, welcome to Nexus Reacts, where I react to oh, so here we go. Make sure to watch the full video if you don't want to see my commentary. This is my honest opinion for this video. And Wansee, thank you for letting me react to this. I am super grateful. And if I do get monetized, I am not going. This is my third channel for reactions. So thank you for letting me react to you. So I got 3 channels. This is my third channel. The second channel is for shorts, and my third channel is for everything. So welcome back to Nexus Reacts. Have a good day, guys. Let's get
Noosh. This incident happened to me in 2017 when I was 10 years old. My friend Jasper and I went to the same school and lived in the same neighborhood. Every weekend we went to a forest nearby and played there. The forest wasn't very dense and had a few houses in it, so our parents didn't worry about us going there. One day, Jasper and I were walking into the forest and came across a house. As we walked up to it, a woman came out of the house and noticed us. She smiled and waved at us and then called us over and told us to buy some green chilies. She gave us some money and told us where to go. She looked very friendly and even offered us some more money to buy something for ourselves. So we accepted and went to buy the chilies. After buying the chilies, we both returned to the house and gave them to the woman. She told us to wait and went inside. I heard a noise from inside. It sounded like a blender, but I wasn't sure. So I peeked through the window and saw her blending the chilies into a paste. Then I saw her leave the kitchen, so I went back over to the door where Jasper was. What happened next was the most horrific thing I've ever experienced in my life. The woman showed us the bowl of chili paste she made, and then took it and smothered it all over her own face and eyes. Jasper and I started screaming as she laughed with her face covered in spicy chili paste. We started running away from her, but she caught me. Jasper managed to run away from the house, but she brought me into her house and locked the door. She told me to take the paste and smother it on my face. I refused and threw the bowl down and started to cry and scream for help. She then got very angry at me and started slapping me, trying to silence me. Then I heard a noise outside. It was my friend and the people from the houses nearby. My friend had called for them to help. The woman heard the people and tried to run away through the back door, but she was caught. Some women in the group of neighbors recognized us and took us to our parents and told them about everything that had happened. Jasper and I listened to them talking. The woman in that house had apparently escaped from a mental institution and killed a mother and son who lived in that house and was living there for a few weeks. Jasper and I went to therapy and we recovered from what had happened. I'm 16 now, and Jasper is still my best friend. If he hadn't called for help, I probably would have died that day. Hi, I am Radhikant from India. I am currently in high school and live in an urban area. This
Why
is the
does
story
he
of the
look like
incident
Vegeta?
that changed the course of my life. This incident happened when I was around 5 or 6 years old. At the time of the incident, we were living in my home village. Our house was a single
Why does he
story
look
with
like
3
Vegeta?
bedrooms, a kitchen, and a garage adjacent to our house. We kept old things like refrigerators and things we don't use anymore in the garage. One day, my father was cleaning out the garage when he found a beggar inside eating a rat. My father was very startled, and being a typical Indian dad, he threw the beggar out of the garage and started shouting at him. As this was happening, I heard some loud noises, followed by my dad yelling, and I rushed outside to see what was going on. Once I arrived outside, I saw the beggar. He was a frail and scary-looking man with 2 large scratches across his neck, which appeared to have been cut by something very sharp. His eyes were totally white, and even from far away, there was a terrible stench coming from him. When he noticed me, he turned to look over at me and grinned. His smile alarmed me and sent a shiver down my spine. When my father noticed him looking strangely at me, he must have gotten even angrier, and so he ran over and punched him. The beggar fell and seemed knocked out for a moment, but he quickly got back up and then started cursing at my father with words in a language I could not understand. He seemed furious and looked around for something when he found a hammer lying on the ground from my father cleaning out the garage. He grabbed the hammer and threw it towards my father, but his throw was weak, so it didn't reach him. He began cursing at my father again, but my father ran him off, and the beggar disappeared into the distance. After that day, nothing related to the beggar happened again, and he was nowhere to be seen. But then, on the 7th night after the incident, I had a disturbing nightmare. In the nightmare, I saw my father being attacked by the beggar. In the beggar's hands were a hammer and a nail, and he placed the nail up to my father's chest and drove the nail directly into his heart. After seeing this happen, I woke up in a panic, but I never told anyone because my family doesn't believe anything is real about those kinds of horrors and nightmares. After that night, I had no dreams about the beggar again. But then, on the 21st day after the incident, my father was found dead, lying on his bed with his eyes wide open. They were totally white. Our family was devastated. After the funeral rites were complete, I was in his bedroom, looking at the photos of him and fetching old things from under his bed. As I reached under there, I eventually touched something that I didn't recognize. It was the hammer from the garage that the beggar had thrown at my dad that day. I have had a guilty conscience since then for not telling anyone about my dream, since it may have prevented what happened. So here I am, telling it to all of you. I plan to tell my mom everything soon, but I'm not sure what she will make of it. If there's anything I learned from all of this, it's to treat strangers kindly, because you never know what they might do if you anger them. But most importantly, I learned that we must cherish the time that we have with our loved ones. Though I received a warning that I didn't heed, there's no telling when any of us might lose a loved one without any warning at all. Late one night, after my uncle had just finished work, he was driving down the highway from his workplace. He worked in another town and had to travel back and forth daily to our town. The trip was about 45 minutes each way. It was around 10 p.m., so he was really drowsy and just wanted to get home. After about 20 minutes of driving, he heard a distant scream from up ahead. But as it was foggy, he couldn't really see far ahead. His headlights glowed faintly in the fog, barely lighting up the road in front of him. A minute or two after he heard the scream, he saw 2 faint lights in the distance, blinking. After driving a couple more 100 meters, he saw a car pulled over to the side with its hazards flashing. It was an old beater, barely roadworthy. Next to it, a man was jumping madly up and down. My uncle, who is generally very careful, for some reason decided to help the guy despite the sketchy vibe he gave off. After pulling over, the man walked up to my uncle's car window. He asked my uncle if he could catch a ride, as his car had broken down. Despite my uncle wanting to help, he knew there was something off about this situation. The man looked slightly crazed. He was fidgeting and he kept looking out into the distance. My uncle turned to look where the man was looking, and he saw 3 other figures seemingly watching from a distance. Despite my uncle now definitely knowing that this was some sort of trap, he casually offered to call roadside assistance. However, the guy immediately said no and started getting angry. He began frantically tugging at the door handle, trying to open my uncle's car in any way possible. The man stepped back for just a moment, and trying to be inconspicuous, my uncle shifted the car into gear and started pulling away out onto the highway. The guy, realizing this, let out an unearthly scream and sprinted towards my uncle's car. But he didn't catch up because my uncle floored it and was now back on the road. As my uncle checked the rearview mirror, he saw the man and the 3 figures who had been watching from a distance, all holding what seemed to be some kind of weaponry. He sped away into the darkness, never looking back after that. Even after my uncle arrived at home, he was still extremely nervous and unsettled, and he immediately went to bed. He doesn't like talking about this encounter, but I feel the need to share it as a warning to others to be careful when driving late at night.
Okay, that's it. Have a good day, guys. You make sure to subscribe to my channel. Have a good day, guys. Bye.